Article 4 talks about how the states should get along with each other and with the federal government. It has 4 sections. Section 1. Full faith and credit. This section says that each state has to respect the laws, records, and court decisions of the other states. For example, if you get married in one state, your marriage is valid in all the other states. Or, if you commit a crime in one state and run away to another state, the state where you committed the crime can ask the other state to send you back for trial. Section 2. Privileges and immunities. This section says that the citizens of each state have the same rights and freedoms as the citizens of the other states. For example, if you move from one state to another, you can enjoy the same benefits and protections as the people who already live there. You can also travel freely between the states without any restrictions. Section 3. New states and territories. This section says that Congress can admit new states into the Union, but it cannot create a new state by taking land from an existing state without its permission. It also says that Congress can make rules for the territories and other lands that belong to the United States, but it cannot take away the rights of the people who live there. Section 4. Republican government. This section says that the United States will guarantee that every state has a Republican form of government, which means that the people elect their leaders and have a say in how they are governed. It also says that the United States will protect each state from invasion by foreign enemies or violence by its own citizens. Article 5. The Amendments. Article 5 talks about how the Constitution can be changed or amended. It has 1 section. Section 1. The Amendment Process. This section says that there are 2 ways to propose an amendment to the Constitution. One way is for 2/3 of both houses of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives, to agree on an amendment. The other way is for 2/3 of the states to ask Congress to call a special convention to propose an amendment. After an amendment is proposed, it has to be ratified or approved by 3/4 of the states. This can be done either by the state legislatures or by special conventions in each state. The Congress decides which method to use for each amendment. So far, there have been 27 amendments to the Constitution. The first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights, and they were added in 1791. They list some of the basic rights and freedoms of the people, such as freedom of speech, religion, press, assembly, petition, trial by jury, and protection from unreasonable searches and seizures. Article 6. The Supremacy Clause. Article 6 talks about how the Constitution is the supreme law of the land and how everyone has to follow it. It has 3 sections. Section 1. Debts. This section says that all the debts that the United States had before adopting the Constitution are still valid and have to be paid. Section 2. Supremacy. This section says that the Constitution, along with the laws and treaties made by the federal government, are the highest laws of the land. If there is a conflict between a federal law and a state law, the federal law wins. All judges in every state have to follow the Constitution and uphold it in their courts. Section 3. Oaths. This section says that all federal and state officials, whether they are elected or appointed, have to swear an oath or affirmation to support the Constitution. They cannot be required to take any other oath or test based on their religion. Article 7. The Ratification. Article 7 talks about how the Constitution was ratified or approved by the states. It has 1 section. Section 1. The Ratification Process. This section says that 9 out of 13 states had to ratify or approve the Constitution for it to become effective. Each state had its own convention where delegates voted on whether to accept or reject the Constitution. The first state to ratify was Delaware on December 7, 1787. The 9th state was New Hampshire on June 21, 1788. The last state was Rhode Island on May 29, 1790. The end of this section also lists the names of all the people who signed the Constitution on September 17, 1787 in Philadelphia. They are called the Founding Fathers, and they represent 12 states except Rhode Island. Some of them are very famous, such as George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and Thomas Jefferson.